All right, whew. Dean, my pits are sweating, bro.
I am too.
I mean, like, this is... do you sweat the top 10 more than... Okay, question. Do you sweat the top 10 more than what is on the border of not making your top 50? Which one do you sweat more?
I'm sweating because it's hot in here. None of that makes me sweat or nervous or anything.
Doesn't?
No, it's my top 10
You don't
games.
really want to, like, nail this.
Oh, I do. I am going to nail it. You know when you feel super confident and you know this is just good? Mm-hmm. There's nothing better that I can do to this.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. Now I've seen your list and you should be sweating.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're not a fan.
I'm usually a fan of your list, but my list is better than yours this time.
I think that as we go through it, you're going to be like, never mind. I think you're going to change your mind mid-list.
We'll see.
Go through.
We'll see. And are we going to have any overlap here?
And will either one of us change our top 1 from last year?
Maybe. Will you change your top 2 in the middle of this recording?
Could. I've already changed it twice.
This morning.
Yeah. Who knows? You can call me Johnny on the spot.
It's a crazy world right now. We don't know what's going to happen. But I'm going to start off with mine.
I already don't like my number 10. I need to move it up again.
Okay. Move it down the list, you mean?
No, I need to have it higher maybe. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. Let's just go.
All right. My number 10 is a game that John and I talked about from the very beginning of our show, if I remember right. This was not like the first thing we reviewed, but it was one of the first recordings that we did. And that was to talk about Glen 2, right?
Yeah.
That was really early on that we did this. We did some coverage for this before the game
Niels
came out.
reached out to us.
That's right.
And who was formerly on the Fun Tales team, he reached out and said, "Do you want to play it online?" He was all about it because we're a pretty darn big fan of original Glenmore.
Right. But the things that I didn't like, he said they were fixing, and so I was pumped. Yeah.
I remember playing it for the first time and I went, "Oh, this is juicy."
Mm-hmm. So good. So this is a tile placement game where you're going to be placing tiles out. You're going to be taking tiles and you're going to be placing them out on the board, and they're going to be activating the tiles that are around it. Your whatever they're called, clansmen, Scotsmen, or whatever that are on the board. The place that they are on the tiles matters because you have to build around them, but also you have to have some of those people inside of your castle in order to get points at the end of the round. At the end of each round, you're going to be also traveling around this travel board, which was something that was added to this version of the game that wasn't present in the first one. I just really love everything about it. The production is through the roof on this one. The tile placement is a lot of fun. Then you add in these different modules that are present in the base game, and it's really good. But also with the expansion, it adds the solo version of this and other modules, and it's just the Chronicles, I guess. It's just fantastic. I love this game, and I always want to play it. The other positive of this is it's a pretty quick game. Yeah. You can play this at about, 45 minutes, but probably 45 minutes in a 2-player game, and up to 2 hours is what it says on here. But I don't think I would play a 2-hour game of this even with 4 players if they know what they're doing.
There you go.
So this one is ranked overall 157, and it's my number 10.
Wow. I can't say anything about it right now.
Okay.
How about that? I will say excellent pick.
Okay. I win.
My number 10 is ranked 45 overall, and that is a game where, Dean, you're traveling back into the past. You're giving goods to yourself in the past, but guess what? The capital is going to fall. Asteroid or meteor or whatever is going to hit, and everyone's going to scramble, and from the ashes will rise a faction.
There we go. And you're punching Biff in the face, and manure's falling on him, right?
I was thinking more like it's dystopian. Like Hunger Games. Something's always rising from the ashes in dystopian books and films.
That is true.
It's like everything has gone to absolute dooders, but what can rise up?
Why can't these factions work together?
Oh, they hate each other.
Like, you have nothing. Why not use each other? That's what I don't understand about these games.
It's like a rose comes from the ashes and it eats the other ones because they hate each other.
Yeah.
And they can't just say, let's make a garden. They're like, no, I have to be the number one.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how you play this game.
Anachrony.
That's right. So, a David Turtsky game, my favorite game of his, though he makes a lot of games that I really, really like. But in this game, that's the theme of it, and it's a worker placement game that builds engines, and you have like exosuits. So some of the worker placement spots, you have to go out of your own little base or whatever, and so you've got to power up your suits. Others, you are building an engine of different worker placement spots that you actually have. You have different workers that are going to sleep and waking up, and all of it works together so well. And why this is so high is because it's not only this like ultra Euro game, but the theme is so heavy in this. It's so freaking good. Anachrony is amazing. The only slight possible knock is I've been so lazy about playing longer games lately, and even though this one's not like super long, I think by the time there's a lot to set up. Like get it out, set it all up, put it on the table, all that kind of stuff. I'm probably looking at 2 to 2.5 hours, and I've been a little bit lazier, like wanting to be done like an hour and a half with everything. I mean, that's the only slight tad bit of a knock I have, and that's just a personal preference that has nothing to do with the actual greatness of the game. Yeah. One of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah, it is fantastic. This one did not make my list, I think, right?
The cover's ugly too.
I need to play this one more. I have played it a couple times. I think I don't know. For some reason I didn't quite have this one on, even though I rated it really high.
You really loved it when we played it last.
I did. I think I just wanted to have another player to really
makes sense.
To boost it up here.
If you've never played Anachrony and you like medium heavy Euros, it's a weighted at 4. Wow, it seems like it's not that heavy. But anyways, you have to play it. Like, go buy it.
Okay, all right. That's number 45 overall. The other thing I don't understand, this has nothing to do with my next pick, but I don't understand why you have all alien things like movies and games and all that. It's just we assume that all aliens are coming to destroy our planet, and we've got to take them down, or we need to go take all of their stuff from their planet.
It can never be peaceable.
Can never be peaceable.
This isn't an alien game.
No, but it's the same idea, right? No. Rising from the ashes and dystopian. Like, nobody can work together.
Why can't we just all be nice?
Yes.
Have you looked at the world we're living in?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem.
That is the problem.
Yep.
So the solution isn't more of that. We're going to have
an existential conversation about,
the solution should be more kindness.
I think it relates to humanity, unfortunately. We crave it. We don't want a story about everyone living together in peace. It's just boring.
I do. I want more cooperative games in real life.
I just meant we as a human race.
Speaking of racing others to be the best, my number 9 is Lost Ruins of Arnak. This is where you are
Boo.
Oh my goodness.
I just booed here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is not a bad game.
Another one of high production. This is ranked 32 overall, which is really high. Not as high as Dune Imperium, which I get. Dune Imperium was a top 50 game for me as well. I just like this one better. You are deck building in this one.
That's probably why I'm
And you are also worker placing to move up a track, really. There's other ways to get points, but a lot of what you're trying to do is gain resources so that you can move up the track on the side. That's going to give you points and bonuses as you go along. The worker placement, you have to play cards in order to place your workers, and so you have hand management in all of that. When the timing aspect of when to play my cards versus when do I want to play my workers. All of that, it's just a really big puzzly game. With the expansion, it boosts it up for me, even though I think this is probably around the spot where it was last year. I love it with the expansion too. This is one, I don't see this one falling. In fact, I could see this one rising. I play this one a lot. This is another one that's on BGA. Somebody mentioned
Didn't it fall for you a little bit this year?
I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. I was thinking it was like just outside of the top 10 last year, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. Maybe you're right.
But you might be right. It's somewhere in this area, and I love it. But this is another BGA game that you can play, and the experience on there is really good. It doesn't have the expansion, but it's okay. You don't have to have the expansion to get the idea of how the game plays out. So that is Lost Ruins of Arnak, my number 9.
I'm trying to go to the tape and look back at what our list was last year.
You're not going to find it there.
Wow, remember when we used to put videos out? Because I have to go through a lot here.
Oh, you're looking on the YouTube channel.
Next year it's going to be like, hopefully not. Hopefully it'll be better. Let's see what your number one is. I'm just gonna do it right now.
Brandon put on the YouTube, by the way, he misses that format of us playing through games. That was Brandon Dizzle, I think, is who put that on there.
Yeah, me too. I miss it too.
Yeah.
Dean, okay, so you are correct. It was not in your top 10 last year.
Okay. I think it was 11 or 12, something around there. Actually, I think Brass Birmingham was 11, if I remember right. Anyway. Ooh. Anyway, I love this game. And I don't understand people who like. Well, okay, I do understand it. It's different than Dune Imperium. It's more Euro-y than it is thematic and conflict-y.
I like the conflict of Dune.
Yeah.
And the card play's better.
But
the deck building is better in Dune.
The deck builder is different. You have more deck building.
I was trying to get you to say yes to that.
No, in Lost Heroes of Arnak, the reason why I like it is it's really this giant puzzle that you're trying to solve, and that's what I like most about this.
All right, that's your number 9. My number 9 is, I think it was my number 9 last year. So I'm kind of looking at what I had last year versus what we have this year, and
I thought this was like your number 1 last year.
No, I'm sorry. This was number 3. Wow, this actually fell.
Yeah, I thought you had it really high.
Oh, dang. Maybe I should have raised it higher. I don't know. I mean, Le Havre is my number 9. I've said this. I say this every year. I think that we do this. I would play any one of my top 10 games anytime, right? Like, it's not like there's not a huge difference for me. And I think that's why sometimes I sweat this one a little more because it's like, oh, but I mean, they're all so freaking good, right? I mean, do you feel like that? Do you feel like your number 10 to number 1 is dramatically different?
No, I don't.
Feel like
in fact,
like
even
hairs.
into almost 20 probably, they're really close. Especially that 11, 12 through 15, I guess. Yeah. All of my top 15 I can play anytime.
I love the Le Havre art as we're looking at the board. Don't you think it's cool?
I don't love the art.
It's good. It's great. Anyways, so this is a Rosenberg game. I love Mr. Rosenberg. He just puts out incredible games. But this is a game where, you've got these different offers. And you've got wood offers and fish offers and clay offers. And what you're doing on your turn is you're deciding, should I take the offer? That gets increasingly better if people aren't taking it. Or am I going to, build buildings? And so over the course of the game, you're building all these different buildings, which are worker placement spots for you, and the worker placement spots that other opponents can go to. And I think that's one of the things I like about it is that, like, that player interaction, right? Like, if Dean takes it, now if Dean takes my spot, there's a good chance he owes me something to take that spot. But while his piece is there, man, I can't use it. And so I'm like, get off my spot. Get out of my building, Dean. Get out now. And he might be like, I think I'm just going to chill here for a minute because I know you really like that. But the other piece that I like so much... If
you yelled at me like that, I don't think so. I would take that spot.
I don't yell at anybody like that. I don't think. But the other piece that's so good is this is like all kinds of feed your workers, right? Like, a huge piece to this game is...
You're saying that as a selling point?
Yes.
Okay.
You've got to feed... I love those games. I love it whenever it's tough. And you're like, oh, man, how do I barely score some points here while I'm feeding all my workers or whatever? You can end up scoring a ton of points in this game. But it's such a brilliant game. It's weighted at 3.7, which I think that it's weighted high not due to rules difficulty, but due to... there's a decent amount of cards out there, and you got to... Like, figuring out how to score high points can be... a challenge, but it's so satisfying.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying.
I've never played the physical copy of this game, and I would like to, because I like the app. I think this is a fun game, and it's one of those that I will always prefer a physical copy to a digital version of it, so I know that it would be one that I would enjoy.
This probably should have been higher. Who knows? I don't care. I say that, and I really do care. I'm just trying to tell myself that it's going to be okay.
Part of it is
you would love this
when you've played it. Yeah, I'm with you. I think I would.
I think this could be a top, if not the top Rosenberg game for you. It's potential.
We'll talk about that later. How about that?
I know. Yep.
Okay. Not on my list, as you can imagine.
Number 9.
All right, my number 8 is a Eric Lang game. Surprise, surprise. Now, this one was not in my top 10. In fact, I don't think this one has made my top 10.
Isn't that the same thing? Isn't that in that movie?
I don't know.
Doesn't the Terminator come?
Yes.
And he is trying to stop the wars and save people?
Yep. Godfather, Corleone's Empire is my number 8 game.
I played this for the first time this year.
Yes.
It's an excellent game.
Excellent.
It was one of those ones that you can usually get or used to, I don't know if you can now, cheap, and so I always assumed that it was just mediocre. I've only played it once, but had a real great time doing so.
It's a little higher on the BGG Geek Market thing right now, so I don't really know.
I think all those extra prints are scooped up.
Could be. I bought mine. I'm trying to think when it was $25 or something like that. When they had it at like Marshalls or something like that. Anyway, I was going to mention
crazy.
$366 overall is what this one is. This is a worker placement game plus other stuff. You've got area control. You're going to be pushing people out. You have hand management. You're trying to complete these different tasks, and when you complete the task, they'll give you points, but also like points at the end of the game. But they're also going to help you to usually kick people out or be able to do different actions depending on what cards that you play. This is an excellent game. I play this one multiple times a year, and I always love it. And I it's funny because I get together with my Mancation group every year, and we'll play this, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in one weekend, and I don't get tired of it. Yeah. I want to play it all the time. I really love this game. Now, I need to paint my copy of this. I've been in a really big painting kick.
How could you not have a top 10 game painted?
I know. This is a tragedy that I don't have this one painted. Now, here's what I would love to see with this one. I would love to see expansion stuff. It will never happen, probably. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. I would even rather see a retheme that's not Godfather theme, but is still Mafia theme.
Because people are turned off by that, I think.
I think so. I think people just don't like that. They might not like the movie or whatever that is.
I don't think that that's it. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
I think that it's not that people don't like the movie. I think it's that oftentimes IPs are screwed up, or they're kind of, I feel like they're approached with lesser skill. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, okay, we got the IP, so we're going to sell some games.
Yeah.
And it's not as thought, they haven't thought as deeply. Is what you assume, and this is exactly not that at all. It's a very well done game.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I just wish that there was more stuff to it. Even though I played this game a bunch and it still doesn't, I don't get tired of it. I would just like to see more. I would like to see what they can do with it, really, is what it is.
You should have talked to your buddy Eric Lang whenever we saw him at PAX U. You should have been like, hey, Eric, I got one thing that I want from you. Expansions. But I bet with like having the Godfather IP, it's probably not as simple as just like, let's just throw another expansion. Unless, like you said, you redid the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering if they could or should do. But he doesn't have the same connections with Command Games. It doesn't work for them anymore, and so that might change things too. Who knows? I have no idea. I have no idea, but I love this game. I want to see more stuff of it. That's Godfather Corleone's Empire, my number 8.
All right, so my number 8 is, I would say, a classic now, right, Dean? Oh, I didn't pull up the...
Yeah, this is a classic.
Yeah, Terra Mystica. I was looking at some of the pictures, so I didn't... So what is it rated overall? 23 overall. Re-implemented as Gaia Project. I know that there's a lot of people that will fight and argue with me about Gaia Project being much better. I completely disagree. I think that Terra Mystica is beautiful in its own glory. Only gripe I have is the map is the same all the time, so I get that for Gaia Project people. But in Terra Mystica, you're putting out all these different types of building and stuff, and as you're removing them off of your player board, what's happening, Dean? You're unlocking goodies. And it has this really cool, like, the bowl action selection thing. I think that's really, really interesting, and I'm not going to go into exactly how that works because this is just kind of a high-level overview. I like the way the action selection works. I love how every faction is wildly powerful, and they have this own. So, like, I think that's why this is so high, is that I always enjoy playing it. Because I'm like, I haven't played that faction in a while. Let me see if I can do well with, with them now. And then the last thing that I love is the cult track. Like, you're going up these tracks and you're battling for the supremacy of who's higher on it, who's not. And so those kind of decisions of, dang it, Dean's going higher. I don't know if I could beat him on that. All that together is just, this is an absolutely phenomenal game. I just wish that I don't like it at 2 as much as I like it with higher player counts, and I play most of my games at 2.
Yeah.
I think that if I was playing this at a higher player count more regularly, it could even be higher on my list.
Funny enough you say that, because you were just talking about the time restraint that you have. This is a lengthy game if you play with a lot of people.
With a lot of people, and that's the thing, is I don't, so it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I think that, I know I'll contradict myself here and there, but the setup is not really long on this game at all. And then on top of that, like the way that the factions, I think, are so wildly different. Like you can say they're kind of like that in Anachrony, but there's not near as many factions, so it gets a little bit more tired.
Yeah,
would be kind of the difference. This is like wildly different. There's a ton of factions, and it's really, really fun. But again, we're splitting hairs on these games in my top 10. Such a classic, such a good game. Number 8, Terra Mystica.
Yep, I totally agree with you. I need to play this one again. It's been a long time. This was one of the first games that I played that you remove pieces and it unlocks things as you go.
That. You love that, don't you?
I do, and I love moving up tracks. You know that about me.
Yeah.
So I think this one could probably make my top 50 if I just played it more.
Yeah.
It's been years. All right, good pick. My number 7 is Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition. It's that time of year, John. This is the fall time where we are in the mood of playing all these little spooky horror games, right?
I've never played that game.
Okay. We should make that. Can you sit down for a longer game? Can you handle that?
I can do that, yes.
Okay.
It's just I don't often have the time.
Yeah. We have a lot of games that we want to get played.
Or let me rephrase that. I have all the time in the world. I don't make the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No excuses.
It's funny because sometimes we'll do this where it's like you pick a game that you love, I'll pick a game that I'll love, we'll get together, we'll play it. This probably needs to be that game.
Yeah, last time you picked Eclipse.
Touche, my friend, touche. All right, this one is ranked
you, Diego.
46 every time. That wasn't even that good of a joke. It was just, it was funny.
It made you
It was
laugh
pretty
out
good.
loud.
It did.
That's more of an inside joke.
Yes, that's right.
For those who don't know, Dean overthinks his picks on that and sweats it, and then usually picks one that's not a bad one, but not as good as he could have.
All right, so this is an app-driven game where you are picking your characters and you're exploring a haunted house. Sometimes you're not. It's Mansions of Madness, but with the expansion stuff, it's not always exploring mansions. There's other things that you can be doing. Even in the base game, I guess there's areas that you're controlling or exploring around mansions.
You love to explore.
I do.
That's why you like Lost Rooms of Arnak.
Love to explore. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Now this is a different kind of exploration. I guess, but no, the app reveals different things in here for you. But the rule set of this is super simple. You're just going to be moving around and interacting with these different things on the board. And it helps if you just have one person that is controlling the app, which is what I normally do. And everyone else doesn't even have to use it at all. They're just like, let me see what's on the board and I'll focus on that, right? And I love it. I think it's so cool. You've got these skill checks based on your characters. The story that unfolds is typically really intriguing and exciting, and there's a lot of tension in this game. Really, really story driven, and you know, dice chucking game. But if you like the story elements of games and you like this theme, this is it's a no-brainer. This is a lot of fun.
You know what else would be a lot of fun?
What?
Is if on the YouTube video, if we ever post on YouTube, we have a bell that dings every time that you mention a minis game for your top 10.
Ooh.
You're like, Mansions of Madness, ding! And it says on the screen, like, mini 1. And it's just a counter of how many. That would be funny.
Would it? I'm looking through here right now.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. It's not yours. List is not as many as I would assume.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. My top 50, that's for you, Diego. My
you beat me to it.
My top 50, I would for sure have more miniature games. But so far, out of the 4 games that I've picked, 2 of them.
Yeah, it's true. I think
but this is minis heavy, though.
I think almost every other week you probably had more minis almost than this week right here. Anyways, all right, that's your number 7.
Yep.
Mansions of Madness. My number 6 is ranked 13 overall, and it is one of...
Do you want to do your number 7 right after my number 7 since yours...
My number 7 is ranked number 13 overall, and one of my favorite designers, I guess. Like, I think all these games are pretty much by top designers of mine. Mr. Pfister. That is Great Western Trail. I think there's a lot of people that would say that Maracaibo is a better work of his. Maybe Mombasa, which is really good. I mean, like, I love those games. I haven't played Boone Lake. I still need to play that.
Or Sky Mines, for that matter. The re-implementation of Mombasa, right? Isn't that what that is? Sky Mines?
I don't remember what it's called.
I think that's right.
I've got my boss, so I'm not going to buy that, I guess, is kind of my thoughts. Anyways, but I still think that Great Western Trail is his greatest game. That's why it's called Great Western Trail and not Mediocre Western Trail.
That would be a terrible name for a board game.
Meh Western Trail? How about Decent Western Trail?
What about The Western Trail? Would that be okay?
I don't know.
But when you say great, it makes it greater.
What if you called it Greatest Western Trail?
The greatest of all, the GOAT Western Trail.
We need to re-implement this game.
Okay.
So,
it has been re-implemented as the second edition.
Is that a re-implementation? Or just a second edition? Which I don't care about. I like the box art and stuff better, but I can't just buy like it. There's so many games, Dean. Every time someone comes up with new art and says something like, it's just, if I got the old version, I don't really care unless there's a great reason to. Agree or disagree?
Agree. Let's talk about Great Western Trail.
Great Western Trail, you're going to be putting out, it's a worker placement spot, and guess what? Talk about exploring. You're kind of doing that, Dean, because you're building your own, you're adding worker placement spots as you go up the mountain, and they're becoming different every time. And you're like, oh, what did John put there? Oh, I'm going to put this little building over here. And it's just really interesting the way the game builds out. And in addition to that, you are having a great time deck building with what, Dean?
Cards?
Cattle. Oh my gosh. I mean, who knew that Jersey cows, actually Jersey cows are not that high point value on here, but who knew that having a deck of cows and cattle would be so much fun? You ship off those cattle when you get to the rails. You add the expansion, this game is even better. Every time I play this game, I'm like, gosh, that's good. Mm-hmm. Maybe it should be high. I'm going to say that about everything.
That deck building aspect of this one is really interesting because you're deck building, but your hand is staying that same size, and so you're just making it better as you move throughout the trail. I think that's clever. I like that. And
the more powerful deck cards you have, you can do more powerful actions, but also you need to have more higher cards or whatever to ship them off, because as you're shipping off, you're getting victory points, and there's only a certain amount of spots there. So if all the lower values are used up, if you want to score points, what do you got to do? Get some better cattle.
Yeah.
So you always have those constant pools of what to do next, and it's all good, man.
Yep.
It's all good.
Good pick.
Yeah. It's you got to have your deck prepared for the cattle shipment in this game.
Yeah. All right, that is your number 7, Great Western Trail. My number 6 is the Castles of Burgundy, which surprisingly is the only Stefan Feld game that I have on my list.
That's boo.
Yeah.
That's a mistake.
I won't disagree with that. I
know.
cannot disagree with that. But in my top 100, there's a lot more Felds for sure.
And I can't believe this is your favorite Feld of all time. I mean, yeah, I like Castles of Burgundy, but
it is the GOAT.
It's not even in my top 10 of his games. In your face.
All right.
So a lot of people will disagree with me on that, though.
It is so good, though. In this game, you are building up your kingdom, and you're going to start off with one castle tile on your board, and then you're going to build out from there, and you do all of that through your dice. You're going to roll 2 dice and then take the actions based on the numbers that you have on those dice. So it could be that you're taking buildings from the center. It could be you're placing those buildings out in the middle. It could be that I can't find a single picture on here to show that's worth showing the game. It could be that you're selling goods.
I mean, is there ever a picture that's worth showing for that game? Especially, just be real.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Okay. There's a lot of different things that you can do with the dice, but ultimately what you're trying to do is get buildings and put them out on the board. But with the special buildings that you get, they do lots of different things. They can give you things. They can, like money or workers, or they can allow you to manipulate the way that you're placing things on the board or place something else immediately. And it feels tight, and I just really, really like this game a lot. I love it, in fact. One of my favorites, and it is my favorite Stefan Feld, Castles of Burgundy.
Boom. It's your number 6.
You're about to boo me again.
No, boom. I'm glad you have Feld somewhere on your list at least.
I'm getting my booing voice ready right now.
Yeah, you do it. My number 6 is 75 overall, so you're going to disagree with a lot of people. Teotihuacan, City of Gods. Now, what's interesting about this pick for me is I haven't played this in over a year. I realized that this morning that I have not played this since we did our top 50 last year, and that's concerning that it's this high and I haven't played it as much, because you would think if you really love it, you would play it a whole lot more. But it's mostly because my wife doesn't love this game. And it's a little bit longer too. It kind of goes back to that theme. But I feel like every time I play this game, it's like that feel I get with Great Western Trail, where I'll go, gosh, this is good. Why don't I play this more? But you have these really cool mechanics of, you have dice that have these different values, and as they're going around and picking up wood and getting different resources and stuff, they're also increasing. And guess what happens? They die. They fly away to the afterlife. And I think that the way you manipulate use your dice is so incredibly interesting. You can go to worker placement spots with other dice, but they cost more and all that kind of stuff. But you are building this cool pyramid in the middle with tiles cooperatively, I guess. I mean, you're all participating in that. And then you have tracks, Dean. This is a game with tracks that you're going up. There's 3 tracks in the base game. There's more tracks if you have more. Oh, kind of. There's even, I guess, maybe like 4 tracks in the base game. But you're going up all these tracks and unlocking different things that are really cool and sweet. This is a Daniele Ticini game, and I think it's his best game. I think that this one is just super fun, and I love it. And it's 7.9 on BGG. You know what's really been interesting to me is I have been gravitating towards lighter weight games, but I think every game I've picked has been 3.7 or higher, which is surprising to me and concerning at the same time.
You really only have 2 on here that are medium weight.
Yeah.
I would say, probably.
I think you're 3. I think 3 maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know what they've got for one of these. 3.
All right.
Yeah, I would say 3. Go ahead.
So
Yeah,
that's your number
6.
6.
Yeah, Teotihuacan, City of Gods.
All right, my number 5 is a more of a pure deck builder. It's not a pure deck builder. It also has boards, and that is Baseball Highlights 2045. Philip will be very
that's
happy.
a little lower than it has been in the past, right?
Yes, it is. It is. That's right. But still in my top 5. So part of this is not that I
It was
enjoy
number
the
4
game
last year.
less. It's that I enjoy other games a little bit more. It was my number 4 last year? Okay. It has been as high as my number 2, I think. 2 or 3. Anyway, Baseball Highlights.
I think it was number 2 the first year.
That seems right.
I think that's right. Yeah.
That seems right. I haven't played the tournament version of this in a long time, and I think that's part of the reason why it's fallen a little bit. I've played this game a decent amount still, but you are you're playing baseball with your cards, and each card represents a highlight from the game that you're playing. And when you play the card, something is going to happen. It could be that you are threatening hits or a hit, and it could be that you are canceling something that the other player is doing. So anytime you play a card, it is potentially counteracting what they're doing, but also doing something for you offensively. Again, potentially. And after each game that you play, you're going to take the total number of buy power that you have from those cards that you just played, and you're going to buy new cards, and you're going to send other cards down to the minor leagues, and that's going to be your deck. And I really, really enjoy that piece.
I have an idea.
Okay.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Okay.
What season is it right now? What's it about to be?
About to be fall?
No, it's about to be baseball playoffs times.
Uh-huh.
We should play this.
Okay.
I have never played this with you.
Have you ever played a tournament version of this game?
No.
Either? Okay.
I've only played against like my family who didn't like it, and only reason I sold it, even though I enjoyed it, was because they thought they didn't like it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm only playing this with Dean or Jonathan, and both of them have it. I would love to play this game.
Ooh, somebody's got miniatures on here. Sorry, I didn't pay attention to what you're saying.
Miniatures.
I'll play this game. I'll play this game anytime. The funny thing is, not funny. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at a lot of games that I really, really enjoy. Maybe that's why I like them.
Do you still have football highlights?
I do. I like football highlights too. And
it is football season too.
That one did not get as much praise as this one, but I still really like football highlights.
Maybe we could do a sports themed episode.
I
don't know if people would like that as much.
I don't know if I have enough sports themes game. Ooh, I have Trick Shot. We could play that.
We can wait until Portal releases that soccer game. That would be money.
11.
Right, that's yeah. I really want to play that.
Me too.
That would be a great episode. We could do several sports games. Okay, let's think about that. If that's a good idea, if y'all think it's a good idea, let us know. If you think it's not, I guess let us know. I don't know. I was trying to think of something more clever to say.
That's ranked 525 overall. That's a crying shame is what that is. It's 7.5. I guess it's because people.
The theme, too.
It's the theme. You don't have to love baseball to love this game. I don't think though.
I don't think so, but I think it probably turns people off. Like they don't. Maybe they're not. They just aren't intrigued by it. Like
it's futuristic baseball too, which should
cyborg baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And robots.
Number 5?
Number 5, Baseball Highlights 2045. What you got for your number 5?
My number 5 is ranked 78 overall, and that is Simone Luciani game. I like him. I've had him a lot. That is Grand Austria Hotel. I love this game. This game is the epitome of, well, you're managing a hotel. Is what's going on, Dean. You got people, you got guests coming in, but they're coming in, they're sitting down at your tables, and then you're luring them in with coffee and treats. And then they're like, wow, well, maybe I should just stay here because this was fantastic. Dice, worker placement, cool cards that you're getting like that as the people are coming through here, and they're giving you bonuses and different things like that. Cool puzzle with like the way the rooms work in the game and making sure the doors are opening and you're getting points based on having different, of the same color, and the floors that matter differently. It's like I think it's a 3.2 weighted game, so it's not that heavy. It's just pure fun. That's what I feel like when I play this game. It's just like there's certain games I'm just like, that's just a blast to play. Every time I play, that was just pure fun. Not super long, maybe like an hour or so, and you're done. Love it. Grand Austria Hotel. Boom.
Yep, I'm with you. This was in my top 50 as well. Love this game quite a bit. The theme is fantastic of this one. I really liked it. And it actually does, for this type of game, feel fairly thematic too.
I do. I kiss all my patrons to bed.
Leave little mints on their pillows?
Well, that's what I would do if I had my own hotel.
Okay.
How would you feel about that?
I would not stay at your hotel.
Really? I kind of have a hotel now.
You don't do that at your cabin,
Airbnb.
Right?
If I don't live there, that's the problem. I don't live in the general area.
I was considering staying there, and I'm changing my mind.
I'll go from a double kiss cheek to only one for you, if that's okay with you. If that'll help you stay there.
Oh boy. All right, that is your number 5, you say?
That's right.
My number 4 is a game that has also been pretty high. I think 2 last year, if I remember right. That is Root. 28 overall. Still really like Root in this game. You got cute little woodland creatures that you know that I like. And in this one, you are battling it out in the forest for domination. How's that for cute woodland creatures?
In your face world.
But look how cute they are. So it all balances out, right? No.
That's the point.
This one is asymmetrical to the max. You have in the base game these 4 different factions, and they all play wildly different.
Yeah.
Wildly different. But ultimately, you're trying to be the first one to get 30 points, and then you're going to be the winner. You add in the factions, the extra factions from the expansion material. There's a lot of extra material out there with expansions, the solo mode of this, or adding in these bot versions of characters. If you're playing in a 2 or 3 player game, you can add those bots in there. And I really like this one a lot. In fact, so much that a couple years ago I spent a lot of the convention just going around teaching this game to people who had it set up. So I need to get this played for myself though in the physical version. I haven't played it enough lately in this year, so I need to get it played more.
Boom.
That is Root, my number 4. 4. Yep.
And for this year I traded it away. But not because I don't like it.
Is it because I have it?
Yes, and my wife hates this game.
Oh, yeah.
She and she'll never play it with me, and I thought, without Dean there, and then the other players I play with, this is way too confusing to teach them all the different. If I'm not playing with someone like Dean and Jonathan who own this game, all my friends are probably in that mid to mid-light, kind of friends, and there's no way I'm going to sit around and say, well, this faction does this and that faction does that. It would just be frustrating for everyone.
Yeah. So
it's gone. It's out of my collection. It stinks, but probably one of my best game I've ever let go, maybe. All right.
That's Root.
That is your number 4, as you said a second ago. My number 4 is something that is way more powerful than some woodland creatures. Trajan.
I don't know, man.
Emperor Trajan.
Yeah. Roman Empire versus these cute woodland creatures.
They would have sliced their throats.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm just being, I don't want to.
Literally would.
If they're kids listen, I don't mean to. They were the Romans.
There are kids listening to this episode.
Yeah, I know. The Romans were they were pretty gruesome, man. They wanted to show that they were dominant. So
yeah, but what happens if you get them just roaming around the woods?
Ooh, I got it.
That was for your Diego.
No, no, you can't do that. That was he said he laughed at my jokes, not your jokes. Like you're not allowed to use that.
You know what's funny is if people are watching the video version of this, they have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh, I forgot.
We didn't mention that.
Yeah, we do a podcast. And a 10-year-old?
Diego's a listener who likes John's corny jokes, so we're dedicating all the corny jokes to Diego this episode.
Yep, so Trajan is my favorite Feld overall, Dean. Just played this game this last week. I just wanted to give it another go just to see what it was like, and I just love it. I love the Mancala action selection. I love how there's all these different sections. You can go and go out and take people down with your legionnaires and spread out all over the empire, or you can build buildings. Now, none of this feels super thematic or really thematic at all, but you're shipping goods, you're gaining resources and shipping goods off, and you're doing all these things. But I just love that it's just like one giant puzzle, right? And relatively complicated, I think, sometimes to score optimum amount of puzzle. I am horrible at this game. My wife beats me every time. She beat me so bad the last time we played, I was almost ashamed. Like, it was awful. I mean, it was by 30 or 40 points. And it's great, man. This is a game, though, I will say, and I mentioned this to her, you can't turn your brain off ever in this game.
No, you cannot.
Because you're constantly looking at your Mancala and thinking, okay, if I move that, they're there. Okay, then if I do that. You know what I mean? So you're looking at all your options, and while your other people are playing, which is the thing I like and don't like. I love that about it in this sense. I don't feel like I'm waiting forever on other players a lot because I'm trying to figure out what to do next. On the flip side, I don't get a chance to breathe very often when I play this game.
You don't have to hold your breath when you play this game.
No,
you know
hold
that,
my breath
right?
until I make my next move.
Oh my goodness! Is that in the rule book? Because I don't remember that.
They almost titled this game "Don't Hold Your Breath," but they changed it. Hold your breath. Instead, they changed it to Trajan at the last minute. That's probably a tidbit of information that you didn't know.
I did not. I'm glad I know that now.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Now my number 4, Trajan. Love it. 109 overall, but this is far superior to Castles of Burgundy. But I guess the world says opposite.
Mm-hmm. It isn't, but it's a really good game.
I think it's just the other one's more mass appealing.
That's probably
because it's easier to, which I understand.
All right, my number 3 is a mass appealing game for sure.
Yeah.
Number 16 overall. That is Scythe. What?
That was
Scythe.
That was the sound of a scythe.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do it every time I say Scythe. Okay. All right. So in Scythe, by Stonemaier Games, which is a publishing company that I like a lot of.
Yes, it is a publishing company.
That I like a lot of their games. In Scythe, you are... I was waiting for the sound. There we go. Okay. You have your own player board, and you're going to be moving your pawn on to take different actions in that one area. You can take the action of the top and the bottom areas. If you have the resources to do so, you're going to be moving around a map, and you're going to be exploring the map, which is what I really like. Exploring. You're going to be building up these mechs, which I like, and they're going to be picking up different resources and workers and moving them around the board as well, kind of spreading out your empire, while also going to war with these other different factions. But if I go and do this crazy war against John and use up all of my best cards and all of my, power. Mm-hmm. If I use all of that up, then Stephen's going to come along and just wipe out my army, right behind me after we've had this war, which I really like. And so you're not always wanting to just go straight into war. In fact, a lot of times you might not want to do that because it is a way to get points. It's a way to get a star, and you can get that twice through these battles, but it costs a lot to be able to do that. But it is very thematic, but it also is very Euro-y. You're trying to gain popularity, and you get these cards, these encounter cards when you explore, and the encounter cards are super thematic and make you make these decisions that are sometimes even ethical decisions of,
wow.
Really, should I steal this thing from this person and lose popularity? Or should I just help them and gain popularity? You have to make those decisions sometimes.
So
which is
would
really
you
cool.
steal if it didn't affect the popularity?
It depends on how popular I was. If you have so much popularity, you might not care.
You're just like, I'll just take it.
That's what life's like, right?
Just take what. Yeah, I mean, if you're a star, you can get away with a lot.
Yes.
I think a ton.
100%. You absolutely can. Now, should you?
No.
Hopefully not. I would hopefully.
You should not want to be that type of a person.
But this is a game, and sometimes you're going to be deceptive. You're going to be mean. This is a great game. That is Scythe. There's good reason why this game has been so high.
That was like a lifestyle game for certain people.
Oh, like, yeah. Kind of like a terraforming Mars
every
kind
single
of
thing for it. And
yeah,
it's fun. I haven't played it in a while, but it's cool. All right, that's your
got
number
all my stuff painted up for this, too.
3.
A miniatures game. This is a minis game.
Ding!
Also, wooden meeple game. So,
no,
there's that.
It has minis. All right, my number 3 had been my number 1, I think, the first year, maybe, Dean?
Yes.
And that is the game of pure elegance, as people would say, Concordia. And I'm going to specifically say Concordia Venus, because I think they make it a little bit nicer, and I love the idea that you can play 2v2. Dean and I have this conversation a lot. Why are there not more 2v2 games out there?
Yeah.
Is it because it's like difficult, or there's not a lot of people that play? Would they think would play that version? I just, you have a couple over at the house, right? And you invite another couple over, and that's why I like trick-taking games often, because it's like, oh, cool, yeah, hey, we'll be on a team, you be on a team, let's play against each other, right?
Yeah.
And I just wish there were some more board games with that. In fact, I'm going to say out there, if you're on YouTube or on podcast, besides trick-taking games, list some 2v2 games that are out there.
There's one that we're trying to make an appointment, a date night to play with their buddy Neil and Jonathan, right? That's a 2v2 game. I don't remember the name of that one, but I'm excited about it. Super excited about it. I just can't make time lately to play it, but soon, hopefully, we'll be able to do that.
That's right. So if you've never heard of Concordia, never played Concordia, in Concordia you are going out and you're spreading out all over the... I guess it depends on what board you play with. There's so many different versions of this game right now. But it's real simple because you just kind of play a card and you start off with 8 cards, I can't remember. And you just kind of do what it says. So you may move one of your persons, your colonist on the board, and then if you have the resources, you can lay claim to one of the areas, and put one of your houses out there, or you can go on a boat and go out to other places via your boat. But if Dean has his, home there, I don't know what they're called. It's terrible. I've played this game so many times. I can go there, but what is it going to do, Dean? It's going to cost me more moolah.
I don't think anybody can see or hear that.
They can now.
Okay.
It's going to cost me more moolah, and that's the crux of the game. Is all about efficiency, and I'm dealing with these tough decisions of I want to go grab the city first. But oh my gosh, that card that I could buy right now is freaking awesome. And those tough decisions of like really grasping, going for the cards, I think is the crux of the game. And debating on if you want to get one that's way further down the line, it's going to cost you a lot. And is it worth it right now for me to spend that to go get that card that I could get cheaper potentially? And that's the whole game. It's an economy game. Like, how can I do the things as cheap as possible and pull off the win? And it's easy enough. It's weighted at 3.0 that I could teach it to a lot of people. I can teach the 2v2 version to a lot of folks, and we can have an absolute blast playing. I love this game.
Yep. I really got to try this version of it. Concordia itself made my list.
Yeah.
Somewhere in my top 50. Excellent game. Good pick.
My top... Oh, my gosh. My top 4 in particular were very difficult for me to decide what order to put these. Just so you know. The other ones, the top 4 were all in consideration for the best game.
Yeah, I would say that for my top 4 as well, actually.
There you go.
That is 138 overall. For Venus, Concordia is higher than that, I'm guessing. But I don't know.
What's your number 2?
What
is this? What's going on? Is it going to be the same as last year?
I don't know. This is a 2 that almost made my number 1. I really racked my brain on this one. This is another Stonemaier Games game.
This game was number 5 for you last year.
Was it really?
Yeah, so it really shot up.
Interesting. Okay. It's Tapestry by Stonemaier Games.
Ooh, controversial pick there.
It almost booted out my number 1 game. I've been playing this one a lot lately. And it doesn't hurt that, my wife likes this one too, and so that helps with it. Jamie Stegmaier designed just like in Scythe, and in this game you are moving up tracks, and that really is
it's satisfying to you, huh?
It is. And this one's different though, because you are as your action moving up the track. So on your turn you're going to move up a track and then take the action in the space that you're moving, which is a pretty unique thing. And so you got your science track, and I was going to say your arts track, but that's in the expansion, which is also really good. Your exploration, and you can gain your technologies from the tech track and the military track, and there's lots of different things that you're going to do in this. This is a civilization game, but it's not as thematic as like a Nations or anything like that. But it does have that exploring element. It has the battling element out on the map. You're also building up your capital city, and you do that through polyomino placement, which I really like. You're going to be taking buildings off of your player mat and putting them out into your capital city, which unlocks things, which we talked about earlier with Terra Mystica.
And the buildings are what? What are the buildings?
Like, what are they called?
No, what are they?
They're miniatures. You're right. Minis. This does have... I think
there's more games with minis here than you realized.
You're right. This one does have minis. You're absolutely correct, John. Way to go. And I love all the things about this game. There's also, now this is probably the best thing about it for me, is each person has their own faction, and so you're going to be playing with these different powers or different abilities that you're going to get, and they're radically different. Now, initially when this came out, there seemed to be a lot of imbalance in that, but Stonemaier came out and hopefully fixed some of that and made some changes to your starting factions.
Two if you answer with hopefully?
I just don't care enough.
It's just so good you don't care.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
that's
fair.
You're gonna score a ton of points in this game too, which is really cool. Now with the expansion stuff, it adds a lot. That arts, what is it? I think it's just arts something expansion is really good. I enjoy that one quite a bit. Adds another track and adds an extra layer that boosts the game for me, and also more buildings and more starting stuff that you get. Excellent game. That is Tapestry. Was this on your list?
Nah.
You like this one?
Yeah, I like it. It's a solid game. It's cool. Yeah, I mean, if you want to play it, I'll play it for sure. I don't know. I'm not in love with it. It's fine.
Well, I'm in love with it.
I know.
Also, Andrew Bosley art, which is a bonus for me.
There you go. That's your number 2. My number 2 is already been dropped by Dean earlier. How about that?
Your number 2
That's
is
for
a
you,
sequel.
Diego.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, you
My
dropped.
number 2 has already been dropped.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, poop joke.
Well, you don't have to say that word. That's inappropriate.
Nice.
I made you laugh out loud more than once today. It's
better for the podcast when people think that I enjoy that I'm laughing.
You're just humoring me.
Yeah,
because they're like, at some point someone's got to throw them a freaking bone.
Yeah, that's
fair. That's fair. All right, so my number 2 is Glenmore Chronicles. Glenmore 2 Chronicles. That's why I made it my number 2 instead of my number 1, because it has a 2 in the title.
Is that right?
That's how I made the decision.
Oh.
Not really. This is a Matthias Kramer game, and this is what Dean already talked about in his top 10. We would have to say this is officially the MeepleTown favorite game of all time because of that.
Yeah, that is true.
Right? Because it's number 10 on yours, number 2 on mine. Yeah, unless I can sway you with my next game at some point in time, but we'll talk about that here in a few moments. Dean's already talked about it. It's really interesting, again, how you go around a rondelle. I don't think he mentioned that. And the rondelle decisions are so tough. How far do I jump ahead? Because whoever's behind, I love that mechanic in games. Whoever's behind, it's their turn. I love that tile, but it's not worth jumping that far ahead. But then when you grab it, the really cool way that it sets off all those tiles that are adjacent. I think that's just, it's such an interesting thing, because there's a lot of tile placement games where it's just not, it is meaningful, but not as meaningful. Or let me rephrase that. The decision's not as difficult. Like, I grab Carcassonne, sometimes the tiles are easy to make a decision. I got a road, okay, I gotta go there. I feel like every time I grab a tile here, I'm like, ooh. I've got to think about how I'm placing it, what I'm setting off, and then what I'm setting up for the future. And then where are my Scotsmen? Because where the Scotsmen are where you can actually place the tile. So you're always kind of thinking ahead to that. And I think that it's not complicated. It's weighted at 3, but that one extra layer of decision making is really cool. And then I do like the clan board, like Dean mentioned earlier as well, where you're kind of going out on that and going around. And then you have my favorite part of the game, I guess, is just the way it scores.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, it's not regular victory points. You do this to score points. I mean, you do a little bit of that, but you're always every round scoring points based on what other people, how many they have of an item. So that's just so fun to like fight back and forth for those things. I like that.
Yeah, and sometimes you want to stay with other people, but you also might want to get rid of things to be able to get other points. And you know what I mean? And I like that. That's pretty cool.
That's right. And this, I had my number 1 and flip-flopped it a couple times. So there's no difference in my number 1 to me. The reason that I had it there, and maybe it should have stayed there, is like the length of time that you play the game. It says 90 to 120 minutes, but if you've played this game now, depending on what they're not expansions, modules, depending on what modules you put in there, it can make the game a little bit longer, but I've found that I can usually rip through a game in like a little over an hour, 45, like
or less than an hour.
And that's why I love it so much, is I feel so satisfied in such a quick amount of time. So it's great. Glenmore 2, my number 2 of all time.
Excellent pick, and I think you're right. That probably is our collective number 1 of all time.
It's 157 overall. I just feel like that needs to be higher, people.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Glenmore used to be higher, the initial one. So sometimes when you have sequels come into play, that affects the rating as well. So
there you go.
All right.
So no one will be surprised?
My number 1, no one is going to be surprised, is Blood Rage.
What's the rage?
This is 40 overall. I really did consider Tapestry was very much in the running to overthrow this, but I've been playing some games online lately just to kind of refresh myself.
Such
a weird way of saying that?
Such a dichotomy of names of games. Tapestry, Blood Rage.
That's very true. This game has a lot that I love. The drafting, you start off card drafting, and those decisions are very grueling because you're setting the stage for the strategy that you're going to take in the game based on the cards that you take. You might draft monster cards, you might draft clan upgrades or warrior or leader upgrades, or you might be getting battle cards that whenever you go to battle, you play these as boosters.
Or you may draft because you know someone else is going in a direction and you do not want them to have that card.
Yeah, 100%. You can hand draft
you have to do that, I think, in this game to play well.
Especially if you have somebody who's taking the low-key strategy, which is losing everything, but you can still win the game that way.
Cannot give them more of those
cards. You can. You have to start taking some of those even if you don't care for them, like you said. The quests are very important in this game too, which is basically having majority in certain areas that are going to give you points, but also they're going to bump up your clan stats, or your whatever those are called. Yeah, your clan stats, I think is what it's called. And when you when you bump those up, you're able to put more minis out on the board, or you're able to get more points when you win a battle, or be able to get more rage, which is how you're going to take your actions. Yeah. I really love this game so much. I love that drafting. I love the battles that happen in this game, the reveal of those cards when you're battling. The production is through the roof. The monsters are interesting in this game, but they're not overpowered. And sometimes they become more tempting because you have these big, beautiful painted miniatures that you want to get on your side as an intimidation factor, but they're not necessarily the route you want to go. And so so much I love about this game. I don't know if this one's ever going to get overthrown, although Tapestry would be the closest that I've got so far. So that is Blood Rage, an excellent game, another Eric Glen game.
I know.
2 in my top 10.
Man, Eric. You love Eric.
Yep.
That's cool. It was in my top 50 as well. Maybe it should be higher than it is. It probably should. I had it 45. I just looked. It should probably be higher for me. Because I do always...
You got to play with me is the problem.
Want to play, I think. Yeah. And it's one of those games that every time I introduce it to like a set of friends that haven't played tons of games, but enough to, they just like this is all they want to play. I feel like they just want to play more Blood Rage.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I played, I felt the same way. I was like, oh my gosh, I was just blown away by how much fun I had in that game.
Yeah, really. I recently just played that Cyclades, Inish, and Kemet Blood and Sand trilogy, which I really enjoy all of those. I like this trilogy better, the Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and Ankh trilogy better. In fact, all three of those. Ankh was maybe just outside of my top 50. I can't remember. I don't think it quite made my list, but it was in like 50 to 60 range. That's how much I like that one too. Love this trilogy so much.
Awesome. Well, that's your number one. My number one, I wrestled with... Blood Rage is your number one.
Yep.
I wrestled with this. I almost wanted to dethrone it, maybe because I get bored with the same old, same old. Also, yeah, but I didn't. Rosenberg game, his greatest game of all time, IMO, A Feast for Odin. I know that this is multiple people's number one games. I hear that from a lot of folks, and I don't want to go with the crowd, but it's just so stinking good. There's so many worker placement spots, and I think if people see the board, they might feel overwhelmed. But the thing is, as Dean will attest in a second, I don't think it's that confusing, because sometimes it just has a salmon there and stick it down there and grab it. Right? It's not, that's not complicated at all. But the way that my favorite thing, I think, is the way like the pillaging and the whaling and the hunting and all that works, and how you can get a cool reward if you roll the dice right. But if you don't, it's like, okay, I got some good stuff and I can go and get something better next time. And so it adds these cool like thematic pieces to this like ultra Euro game. And then also the polyomino puzzle just adds more satisfaction that I stunk at last time I played. I'm going to give the floor to Dean, because Dean had played this game years ago.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And then this week I said, hey, before I make this my number one, I didn't tell him, I don't know what I said, but would you be interested in playing this again? Because this is one of those ones, like Mansions of Madness, like he's been trying to get me to play, or said something, and I've said, you got to play this again. And he said, yes, which I was surprised. What do you think?
Yeah. I told you that I had been wanting to play this, but I thought you might be surprised that I said yes, let's absolutely, especially because there's some other things that we actually need to play to get reviewed. But I was not disappointed in this, and I think this is my favorite Rosenberg game at this point now. I'd have to go back and think. I think before that it was probably Fields of Arlen. I think that's right. I like
Agricola a lot, though.
I really like Agricola. I've been playing that lately a lot on BGA. And in fact, I've considered re-picking that game back up. Although I think, do you have Agricola?
I think so.
Okay. Anyway.
I think there's at one point that I thought about selling it because I was playing a lot more this in Caverna. But
the funny thing is, though, when I was playing this, John was asking me throughout the game, do you like Feast for Odin? And I said, yes, but I really think if you've played this game a lot, you're probably going to destroy somebody. And I through the whole game, I felt that until I looked over at John's board, and he's got like 3 spots covered up on his board.
Yeah.
And
I got whipped.
It was not looking good. And so I won because John lost so many points on that board. I
purposely lost so he would like it more.
Yeah. But I did take a really long time on my turns compared to John. I mean, the game would have been half the amount of time, which it only took, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that to play.
It took an hour and a half, and that included, I don't know if it included the teach, but a little bit. It included us, him asking questions, like, hey, what about this and that?
Yeah.
I did not have to.
You had to explain a few things.
Yeah, I was, not a ton, but I was thinking, okay, this would probably have been about an hour 15 maybe if he was speeding it up a little bit, but I get why it was slow. I mean, there's like 60 worker placement spots or something, right? Mm-hmm. So you're like, well, let me see what kind of path to victory I have.
Yeah, but it's a really great game. I want to try the expansion for this one too to see if that adds much to it. But even if it doesn't, I think this game it's just fine where it is. There's a lot of really good stuff. The thing I really enjoyed about it were those, what do you call those cards? The
occupations.
The occupation cards I thought were really good in this, and that changes the game up quite a bit.
Yeah,
I think
it does. And see, what I like about it, I'm glad that you mentioned beating me because what I love about this game is I thought, let's just explore a new strategy, right? Like Dean's never played. Let's just have fun. That's what I love about it. I lost pretty easily. You beat me pretty handily. And I was like, that was so fun. like, I want to go try another strategy because there's so many things to do. And then it's so satisfying upgrading your goods, you know, and there's so many ways to do that, or to go pillage and grab some stuff. Like, there's so many ways to skin a cat in this game. I think that's what's so fun about it, and it's that a constant puzzle of that, and then that, for me, that exploration of, man, do I want to immigrate a lot? Do I want to, you know, get a bunch of cattle and sheep and use those as an engine to build something a lot? Do I want to go pillage, you know, all the time? Do I want to build a whaling, you know, engine or whatever, and get some whaling ships out there and just really go at it? And do I want to go and explore new lands?
Yeah,
like, we didn't really do much of that, you know, and try to score points that way. There's so many paths to scoring points. It's just, it's just really, really fun. And, you know, I don't know. I love this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number one, A Feast for Odin.
That's a great pick. It would not have made my top 10, but it's possible this one would have made my top 50. There would have been a really good chance that it would have been up there. So.
Do you own this?
Feast for Odin?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, this is like a perfect one for you. A huge old juicy box.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about the UVA games. The good thing, you own all these, so I don't feel like I need to own any of them. And you're the one I'm going to play. You or Jonathan are the ones I'll play this with anyway. Yeah. So, anyway, that is a great pick for you. Let's wrap up the episode by you telling people how they can get in touch with us.
All right, if you're enjoying our channel, if we ever put this on YouTube, we'd love for you to subscribe to it. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave reviews. Send us mail at MeepleTownGames@gmail.com.
Or MeepleTownMail, either one.
gmail.com, either one. Send us that. Put us a note on Board Game Geek Guild 3407. Join our guild. Send us a note out there. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MeepleTown Games. And that's it. I already said the BGG is a little out of order this time.
That's right. Thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at MeepleTown Games, and connect with us on the MeepleTown Guild, guild number 3407, at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.